Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of What's Your Why Wednesday. Today, I am joined by the incredible Marvetta Bozeman, and she is with Marvetta Bozeman Real Estate Solutions. So before we jump right in here, I'd like to start with how Marvetta and I met. So a little bit ago, I was attending the MBA's Mpower event. And there was this lovely woman sitting at a table with me, and we got to speaking. And after hearing her amazing story of coming into the real estate market, I knew that I had to have her on to share a little bit about herself and how it ties to her why. So at this time, Marvetta, first off, we'd like to welcome you. And secondly, we would love to hear, what is your why? And how does that tie into what you do on the real estate side?
Well, thank you so much, Laura, for having me. Like you said, we met at the MBA Mpower conference, and it was such a joy to sit with you. You were so bubbly and fun. I had an amazing time. My why is simple. I am the mother of 3 sons. I'm a boy mom. And they are my why. My eldest son, I was just blessed almost 3 years ago with a granddaughter. So of course, after having, just all sons, and after a certain age, they're like, yeah, mom, okay, to be blessed with such a sweet, bundle of joy for, my bonus baby, shall I say, with my granddaughter. That's my why. When I look at them and see that in me, they see strength, they see knowledge, they see everything that they could be. And that's what makes me keep going is my children.
Oh, I love that. So number one, here we didn't know we had such similarities, but I also am a boy mom of 2 boys. And 6 weeks ago, at the time we're recording this, I now have a granddaughter. So
wow.
Look at that. We didn't even know that part. So
exactly.
So before we even keep going, I want to speak about this, because here we are, 2 people that had never met each other. I just happened to sit down at a table, and for everyone listening to this, I really want everyone to take note of this. Because when you go out and about in our industry, whether it's mortgage or real estate, don't hang out with the people you know. Make sure that you go and you introduce yourself, or you make connections with people that you don't know, because that's how you grow your network. That's how we actually expand our reach and who else we can help and connect with and continue to, expand. So that right there is just a little lesson of that's how we all grow and get better. All right. So Marvetta, I love that you're a boy mom. I love everything with your family. And I know that your story that you shared with me, I have to go a little deeper. How did you get into real estate? I want to hear that part because it's an amazing story.
Yes, how I got into real estate. Well, ironically, I was once a car salesperson. I sold cars, and, back really to my why, and it feeds into my story. I have been blessed to have the ability to love the elders. It's just something about older people that connect and resonates with me. And I listen to them. So another part of my why is the notion of, I know that I am my foremothers' wildest dreams. And I listened to them. I used to sit at the knees of my grandmothers and older women, and I would let them pour into me. And I really believed what they said. So when I was selling cars, I had the ability to work for Hank Aaron, Hammer and Hank. Home run king, as everyone knows him, the greatest baseball player of all time. And if anyone knows anything about the car sales business, you work from what they call bell to bell. from the time that they open, even before they open shop, you have sales meetings, maybe about an hour and a half prior to opening. So I was working bell to bell. And at the time, I just had my two older sons. I was a single mother. And I was topping sales. I was, hustling and bustling because, that's just who I am. And I had learned when I first got into the car business, a sales manager told me, he said, Marvetta, women usually do the best in this business, but they never last because of family obligation. So when I got over to BMW, I was recruited to come over. When I got over there, that stuck in my mind. So I wanted to make sure that I was working as hard, working more, working just stronger than my male counterparts. And one Saturday, Hank came over to my desk, and his desk was like, you walk in, there was my desk and this huge lobby, and then across the way was his desk. So he can look at any time and see me. So I always had to be busy. But one Saturday, he came over to my desk and he asked me if he could ask me a personal question. And I'm like, sure. And he asked me who was caring for my sons while I was at work. And I'm like, oh, well, I have this older lady. She's great. She's watching them. And he told me, he said, I'm going to say this to you. You will always make money, but you only have one shot at parenting. And that's it, just that one shot. And he said, you see how this young guy, this football player, he's in this trouble because he's running in these packs. That's what he called, groups of guys that the athletes would run with. He said, you don't want that to happen to your sons. And he asked me if there was anything that I ever thought about doing. And I was like, not really. He said, do you want to go back to school? And he just opened up, and I received that because, like I mentioned, I always listened to older people. And when he said that with such sincerity, like I was number 2 in sales. So he said that he had a friend, a few weeks later, he told me he had a friend that was building an apartment community. And he had asked me if I wanted to do something like that. And he said that he and his wife would assist me in whatever I wanted to do moving forward as far as education. At the time, I hadn't completed my bachelor's degree. I had it, but I didn't complete it. Since then, I've now completed 3 degrees, but he saw fit and he saw something in me to get me out of where I was, because like he told me, I only had one shot at parenting, and it would have been a much better fit for me, to be there with my boys. So I started off in property management as a leasing consultant and worked my way up to a regional property manager and eventually got into residential sales.
Wow. There are so many good parts of that story. Okay. But one thing, listening to people that are at a different season of life. That's kind of how I like to look at it, right? Because we all are in different seasons, right? Mm-hmm. We remember what it was like when we were working our tails off and our kids were little, right? We remember that. Right. Now we're in this other season, right? Now we're grandmothers and we have that next generation, right? And taking the time to listen, of course, people that are more experienced and some newer people, because I think we all have to look behind us also. Exactly. Right? So both of those. And then what you mentioned, what Hank did, is he saw the light in you.
Yes.
He saw something in you. And he knew that it was only a matter of assisting and guiding you, putting you on the track to allow that light to beam brighter and bigger.
Exactly.
And the most beautiful thing about that, Marvetta, which I love the story, and it's just such a blessing that you had that. But again, everyone out there, remember that every day we have the ability to do that same thing.
Exactly.
And I will honestly say, I saw Marvetta's light that day at the Mpower event. And that's one of the reasons why you're here, is because I saw it. And we all need to watch for that, because sometimes we don't even know the lights inside of us until someone notices it and encourages us to shine brightly.
Yes.
So the fact that you accepted that, because so many times we're like, no,
Right.
I'm good, right?
I'm making good money.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, I'm great, right? I'm making bank over here. I'm happy. I'm good. I don't want to go down a road that I have to go and get certified, or I have to take a test, or I have to do this, right? I'm good. But yet he gave you such a blessing.
Yes.
Because we all know now, looking back, we only get that one shot.
One shot
of parenting.
Yeah,
one shot. Oh my God, Marvetta, I could just speak to you for days. This is such a beautiful story and so wonderful. Okay, yes. So now this is my favorite question, because I always love hearing these unique stories. Tell me a story. Give me that, and I know you have many, but give me that one story that really touches your heart, of where you helped someone, or, through the work that you do in real estate, where you just knew you changed a family's life or a person's life through the work that you do.
Wow. Well, growing up in the inner city, I didn't see a lot of home ownership. I saw a lot of people that looked like me and my families. They worked really, really hard, but it was more so renting. That's what I knew. When I got into sales, I began and moved to Atlanta. I started seeing a lot more of it. But it was just really until recently when I realized the impact that I have to help provide housing, shelter. We need food and shelter. We need a place to sleep and we need to eat. And we have the ability to help people with the providing of shelter. And it was this older couple, was a friend of mine. She lived on top of me. We stayed in an apartment community. She was a single mom. I was a single mom at the time. And we stayed friends throughout the years. And so she watched my career and I watched hers. So she reached out to me and was like, listen, my dad wants to buy a home. And this was 2 years ago. So I called her dad, and, he was an old school dad. He was in his late 70s. And he was talking to me about his rent was getting ready to go up. And he said that he would come home and he would talk to the people in the neighborhood. He said, these young kids, they don't want to listen to me. I asked them to clean up after their dogs or not throw trash around. And they're very belligerent. They cuss me out, and they're just rude. And he said, and now my rent is going up and I just don't want to pay this rent. And he was huffing and puffing. And he said, but I don't know if I can buy a house. I've never bought a house before. I'm retired. Me and my wife are on fixed income. And as I got to speaking with him more and more, I would learn that this man provided for his whole family in New Jersey, worked multiple jobs as a custodian. But he worked hard. He worked. And he was such a good, firm, disciplined man. And he would call me day in, day out with every question, but he had never purchased a home before. He said that he never thought that he could purchase a home before. And I just could not believe this. I'm thinking like, wow, this is 2020. Who doesn't think that they can purchase a home? And as hard as he worked, and I looked at the income, his credit was immaculate. And he did not know that he could purchase a home. And at 77 years old, I was able to give this man the keys to his first home.
Oh my.
I cried, Laura, like a big baby, because I just felt it. I felt everything. Like he had worked his entire life. His daughter was my age. She was 50, and he worked so hard, and now he was able to purchase a home. And it just really, it hit me. It really did something to me. I'm like, this man is closer to the end than the beginning, but he can say that I was able to live the American dream. Give me a mortgage, purchase me a home.
I mean, Marvetta, right? Like, that is life-changing that this man, that busted his back his whole life, right? Provided for his family. Obviously his credit was important to him. He was
Yes.
diligent about it, right? But yet this man in his mind thought that home ownership was not for him and his family.
Was not for him and his family.
That he didn't fit into whatever that box that he
Yes.
perceived, right?
Yes.
And I have to tell you once again, this is something so important. This is why everyone needs to work specifically making sure that we're educating our communities.
Yes.
Because so many times that misinformation or that fear mongering, right, where people put all this stuff out there of, oh, the rates are high or the property values are high and you can't qualify and you can't do this and this and this. And that's where people get these thoughts of, well, I don't fit into, that's only for this group of people, or that's only for people that have 20% to put down, or whatever, right? Whatever the misconception is. And that's why it's so important that we continue to educate and educate, because we have to fight those things. Because Marvetta, you not only, now I'm just curious, does the daughter own a home?
The daughter does own a home.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good.
The daughter owns a home. Multiple. Good. So even when he said that, I'm thinking he was thinking, he had been retired for some time, fixed income that he could not do it. But then with him and his wife together, because they're paying these high rents, and to be disrespected. And he was real serious about that. He said, I don't like these kids just talking to me any kind of way, and that was extremely important to him. His daughter owned a home, but, a lot of people don't think, that they can. And I'm thinking it was the resources with the down payment. He was able to qualify for, down payment assistance program. But like you said, that knowledge, they don't know, they don't know that there are different programs out there. If you're okay and you're getting, income, then you think that, oh, well, this is all I have. I don't have the, $5,000-$10,000, but that's where we come in at, to see that we can help you. We can work with our lender partners to see what they have. He said, because I don't pay anybody, I pay everybody on time. I've done that my entire life.
I bet he sounds like, and he will for his entire rest of his life, I'm sure.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, that is a beautiful story. And I love that. And it's so funny. Like, the reason why I asked that question is because I want people to understand, number one, I want all of us to take a moment and reflect on, we do change lives.
We do.
And we do positively, we have that ripple effect that positively spreads throughout multiple generations to come. It doesn't just stop even with that family. Right. And so that's one thing. But secondly, also I want to hear the stories of, sometimes we're quick to take the easier road. But because I've heard stories of people that have worked with families for 7 months, 12 months, 2 years, working on building credit and working on, trying to find the right home in the right neighborhood with the right requirements, because that's what's necessary. And we have to be there to support those families, just like the ones that might be a little bit easier, right? It's because in the long run, some of those challenging ones are even more special to our heart.
They are. I will never forget them. I mean, they couldn't, even stuff like scanning things up. They had to come to my office all the time for just simple assistance like that. So I will never forget them. Everything that comes to their house in reference to their house, they call me. They call me. I mean, I'm their realtor for life, and every question that he has. And I love that, I spoke with him not too long ago, and he talked to me about the leaves, it's leaves everywhere. And, I got somebody there cutting the trees. I mean, just to hear his story and to keep in contact with him and to know that I had a help with someone, he's old enough to be my grandfather,
Isn't
my dad.
That beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Yes. And that's the thing, Marvetta, is what you just said. You're their realtor for life. That is exactly what we should always be striving for. Exactly. We want to be that real estate and mortgage professional for generations, not just their family, for their kids' family, for their grandkids, because if we take care of them, we listen, we guide, we educate, we support, we help them with the leaves, right? Like recommendations for someone to come and, that's a partnership. That's a relationship between those people. And that, regardless of what's happening in the marketplace, so many people, when things change within our industry, people panic. But when you have those kind of relationships, there's no reason to panic, because that will get you through until the next cycle, because it's all cycles. So congratulations on forming those relationships and bonding with them. That's great. All right. So speaking of changes in our industry and things like that, I would love to hear from you. If someone was just coming in to the real estate world, what are your recommendations? What are the things that you would say that you've learned that are most important to share to have a successful and rewarding and fulfilling career in real estate?
I'll say first and foremost, what's missing so much that we see in the world of social media: be your authentic self. Be you, be your authentic self. Right now, our industry, we can jump on, and you see it all the time as well. We see all the memes, the real estate memes out there. Like, if we're not looking like, we're having a different type of job, other than real estate, we may not get leads these days or clients. But be who you are. I've had people come in and speak to me and say, well, you have such a base, maybe, you need to kind of dress this way or do this. Like, no, that's not who I am. I think right now, the best thing that I can tell this up and coming generation, step back from what you see outside on social media. Be who you are. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. They'll be able to easily start weeding through the fakeness of, a lot of these social platforms that we see that are out there. And then know your stuff. Educate yourself. We've seen it happen, like, it was the big wave of the, don't use lenders. If a person can't get in the house right away, switch them to a, lease to purchase program. No, know your stuff. Know how to help them, how to get them resources, know about the different down payment assistance programs. Don't throw them in a lease to option program because they can't qualify right now. Teach them or go out and understand the different resources that's available. So I see a lack of education. You met me at a Mortgage Bankers Association.
Yeah.
I'm a realtor, but I need to know what's happening. I need to be in the room with my partners. The mortgage lenders, those are my partners in the transaction. So I feel that what I would really say to people, be you, peel back the mask, whatever's stopping you from being who you are, figure out who that is. Find out your personality type. Find out if you really need to be a salesperson. Some people don't need to be salespeople. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They may not need to be a lender. They get in because they see the glitz and glam that they think that we have. They think we're running around with all of this money and these nice cars, but they don't know that we're up late at night making these things happen. So I think they have to dig in, find out who they are, really make sure that they really love this industry. And why are you doing it?
That goes back to that why, right?
Right.
That goes back to that why, because that why has to tie personal and professional. Because when the professional ties to your personal together, to your point, it's a long-standing career. It's not just let me jump in because the market is good right now.
Exactly. And I see that happening. I'm working on something. I see it so much now. I'm actually working on a program with people. I'm just kind of to help people figure out who they really are.
Nice.
We see so much of people, especially as leaders, we help everyone first, and then we forget about who we are, and it limits us for reaching our true potential. So then we have those barriers. And when we have those barriers, we really can't assist our clients the way that we should and that will best be suited for our clients, because that's why we're here. We're here for them, but when we have all of this stuff, these distractions, these, outside, this person is doing this person is doing that.
These outside influences, right?
Exactly. We are limiting our power, and we're limiting us being the best that we can be. So then we're not passing that on to the people that deserve it. They trust us.
Yeah.
They look at us for expertise.
Yeah, you're the guide. You're the expert. You're correct.
We are the guide. I want for new people to come in, put on that hat as an educator as well. People should know more about the process when they close on their home than they did when they started. A lot of people, they don't look into it like that. Well, just sign this, just do that. Explain to them why they're doing that. Become their liaison. Be that person, so then you will be their family's realtor for life. They'll call you for different questions. They'll say, you know what? You need to go to this young lady. She's good. She's talented. Her team knows this. She knows the answer to this because she's, continuing her education. My partner jokes all the time, we have to have those 36 hours of CE. I usually have like 200-300. I like to know stuff.
But Marvetta, listen, you take your career seriously.
Yes.
I always, give the analogy. I certainly don't want to go to the heart surgeon that isn't up on the latest and greatest of what needs to be done in the latest of being a heart surgeon. Why would I want to go to a realtor or a mortgage professional that isn't up? I just ended. I was on a mortgage information show. I was a guest on the show. That's where I just came from. And during that conversation, we started having a discussion about private lending. Now, all of us that were on the call, we're not in private lending. Like, that's not something that we do. But we were having a conversation about how we need to be well-versed in that. We need to understand, even though that might not be something that we are doing at this moment, the conversation was around sometimes private lending is a better option for some families, depending on, whether they're in between like a high balance to a jumbo. Private lending might be better and a better option for them because under that particular situation. If you are not continuing to educate yourself and know what is out there to offer, how can you be the expert? How can you be that guide? So we have to take our profession seriously, the same as if we were the doctor or the nurse or whatever other specialty profession is out there.
Exactly. You're right.
Yeah. So we have to really do that. I love that. That advice is fabulous, Marvetta. Thank you. All right. Well, Marvetta Bozeman, you are incredible. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to meet each other. Thank you for sharing your why with all of us. We know that you are going to continue to share your light with so many families and make them those homeowners and continue to service that Atlanta area and everywhere else. Where else are you licensed? Georgia? Where else? Is it
just Georgia?
All right. Georgia is your place. You're covering Georgia and you're doing that. Continue to make those differences in the world. And we thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Have a good one.
All right. You do the same.